Thank you, Nadia. Give another round of applause to Nadia. She did that on the fly. Our team had 2 leaders scheduled to lead this initiative yesterday afternoon, and neither could make it today. So thank you, Nadia, for filling in. My name is Adele Landers. I am a wealth advisor with SunTrust Private Wealth Management. Have y'all heard of private wealth management? I'm really excited to share with you this coming year. I'm going to leave you with I'll tell you all about what I do over time, but 2 pieces of information I'd love for you to just think about as we get to know one another over the next year. Number 1 is
exciting thing, but it's the most needed thing as far as I'm concerned. We'll be here walking you through the program that Nadia went through. Also, want to point out that another member of our team got here, Lawrence Blackwell over here, and he's the Director of Education at Hattiloo Theater, and he's a great actor. If anybody's into acting, he's amazing. I saw his work last week. And then we've got some other team members I want to mention. Karen Camper, who's a state rep, Rafael Hart, who's the Vice President of Teacher Excellence at Porter Leaf, Nadia mentioned the Arkansas, Adriana Smith, who's the Director of Healthcare Advisory Team and Patient Services at Church Health Center. Anybody familiar with Church Health Center? Right over there. All right. And Eric Smirt, and that is correct. There is no vowel in his last name. He's the Director of Distribution and Medtronic. We're going to all come together. We're going to have a great year. We're going to get you guys moving into the future, and we're looking forward to working with each and every one of you. Thanks.
Just before the introduction of our first speaker, I would like to extend the opportunity for Mr. Blackwell to introduce himself if he'd like to. Let's give him a hand as he comes.
Hey everybody, I'm Lawrence Blackwell. As Sean said, I'm from Hattiloo Theater, Director of Programs and Education there, professional actor, director, taught at University of Memphis, taught at Columbia College, University. Thank y'all for having me.
Good afternoon, my name is Ricky Smith. Our first speaker for this afternoon is a very familiar face here at Douglass. She is a proud member of the Douglass High School Alumni Association. She supports both Douglass K-8 and Douglass High School because she has truly loved this community, our schools, and us. While we may not all know her name, we know who she is when we see her. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ms. Geraldine Skies.
Thank you, Ricky, for the introduction. 60 years ago, I sat where you're sitting. 60. I cannot believe that. It's been 60 years. But 60 years ago, I was a senior here at Douglass High School. Isn't that amazing? That I'm still walking and talking? But I am so happy to have the opportunity to come back. Mrs. Griffin called me a couple of days ago and said, did you know that you are our keynote speaker? I said, no. She said, well, yeah. So, okay, let me see what I can find to talk about. So I thought that I would just tell you a little bit about the class of 1958, the class who sat here where you are 60 years ago. What has happened to those people? One of the most exciting things that happened to us is that I got a call from the editor of the Memphis magazine, and he saw our yearbook. He said he had never seen a yearbook look like that. It was different. And he said, I'd just like to know what has happened to those people. And what he did was he got a list of all of the people, and he wrote an article about us. Came out, took pictures, and it was interesting to find out that only 89 of us graduated in that class. But of the 89, most were college graduates. So I thought about last night, can anything good come out of Douglass? Yes. How many of you have ever looked at the Wall of Fame? The Wall of Fame over in the other building, other part of the building. I had the opportunity this summer as the national president of the Douglass Alumni Corporation. We met in Atlanta this past July. And while there, I met two pilots. One who had been a POW. The other was a first-time flyer, SST. And just to see the two of them together and to think that they came out of Douglass. They both graduated from Douglass. 3 weeks ago, I drove up to DC and took the plaque to our former national president, who is now ill. But he had a room named for him in the U.S. Marshal's office. And so I wanted to go and sit down and just talk to him. We have had so many. If you will just take the time to look at that Wall of Fame and look at people who have come, who have sat just where you are sitting, sometime during their lifetime. Many of them, as I said before, I have had the opportunity of meeting. I have talked with them. This is my second time being national president. I was national president of the first female to be national president. You got scholarships, you've done other things, but I remember when the former principal's daughter got the $500, she said, you would think that as principal of the school, my child wouldn't need the $500. She said, but it came in handy because we used it for gas to get her to Notre Dame. So there is a need, and so if you can make it through this 12th year, and you have, I hope, a dream. We want you to become what we call uncommon leaders. This is why Leadership Memphis is here to work with you. You can become an uncommon leader, but you gotta have a dream, and you've gotta follow that dream. And you can do it. I can look at you and tell that you can do it, because most of you are listening to me. Most, not all, but most. And I believe that if you can make it a habit of listening and learning and make every moment an aha moment. This is what I used to tell my students, that when you come into my classroom, look for that aha moment. Don't leave until you get it. And at the end of the class, I would have them to tell me, what was your aha moment today?
Awesome.
And most of them had an aha moment. I taught English, and most of them learned how to speak the standard English. And hopefully you are learning how to speak standard English. Thank you.
This is a great subject to be talking about. I was asked by your leaders and Jamila to talk about leadership and what that means and standing out. I love what Ms. Sykes said about uncommon leadership. That's a really pretty dope word, like uncommon. Like that means you got to do something different than everybody else, right? Special. And I'm not originally from Memphis. I'm from Florida, and moved here and finding out that this is a really cool city. I just found out that this school has been here for 2008, right? And so this is nice, right? I probably can do an event here or something. But this is pretty cool. But I'm not going to be long. I just kind of want to share with you about leadership and what that means about not following the crowd, right? This is
this is a really cool generation, and you think about leadership, and we live in a generation where many of us are trying to create followers. And whether we're creating followers on Twitter or Snapchat or IG, this is a generation that wants followers. But the reality is we need more leaders, right? We need more leaders. So maybe we should stop trying to create a whole bunch of followers and kind of get some leaders. And I think that this program is going to really begin to do that. And so I recognize leaders when I come into the room. As Ms. Sykes was talking, I was just looking out. And leaders are different, right? They do different stuff, right? They have eye contact. They do a whole lot. You can recognize a leader the moment you come into the room, because leadership doesn't have anything to do with age or attitude or not even attitude. It doesn't have anything to do with your status or position. It has a lot to do with your attitude, right? Leadership is really about attitude. You know, they're different. Leaders do different things, right? You can take some task-oriented people, because we need those people, right? We need people that can complete tasks and that they can do instructional work. We need everybody, but leaders, they think differently, right? They walk differently, they act differently. If I take a bunch of task-oriented people and I show them some chairs, they're just gonna go stack those chairs, right? But if I get some leaders, I got to get some leaders, they'll take those same chairs and they'll make a game out of it, right? And so we're looking for leaders to really lead our communities and our schools and this generation. So when I think about leadership, right? When I think about leadership, to really understand what it means to be a leader, you got to understand what you're up against, right? You got to understand what you're up against. And they asked me to talk about, you know, not following the crowd. And so when I thought about that, I'm like, well, many of us as leaders, especially our young people, we are up against this crazy concept called the crowd mentality, right? We all know the crowd mentality, right? The crowd mentality. The crowd mentality has a mind of its own, and all of us have been fell prey to the crowd mentality. Now, I know a lot about the crowd mentality because I lead a youth ministry of over 300 students, so I know about a crowd mentality. I know what happens in the crowd mentality. And I want to kind of, before you can really be a true leader, you got to understand what you're up against. And I want to give you some ideas about the crowd mentality, because see, the crowd mentality has this idea that when I'm a part of the crowd, that I can opportunity, that what happens is I can often act separate of how I would normally act in a crowd, right? Well, sometimes in many of us, we can tell our family members in front of everybody that we love them, but oftentimes in a room by ourselves, we can't do that, right? You see, the crowd gives us this idea that we can do what we can do in a room full of people that we can't do with one person, right? See, the crowd gives us courage, right? It gives us courage to believe, like, I really don't want to fight, dude, but because I'm part of this crowd, either the crowd is giving me energy to do it, or I'm afraid that if I don't do it, the crowd is no longer going to give me access to it, or won't think that I'm cool. It's the crowd mentality, right? Then you got this other idea about the crowd, that the crowd, it robs you of your individuality, right? I can't think as an individual when I'm in the crowd, because if I'm not doing what everybody in the crowd does, then guess what? I'm no longer have access to the crowd. It's the crowd mentality. You see, also I realized that the crowd, it gives us validation, right? Most times bullying and those things happen in a crowd because cruelty is the currency of our generation, right? And so this crowd mentality, you got to understand, before you can truly be a leader, you got to understand that you're up against the crowd mentality, right? And see, what I know about the crowd mentality is that sometimes the crowd oftentimes overlooks what's really good, right? There's people in the crowd, everybody in the crowd is not stupid, right? Everybody in the crowd, there are many people in the crowd that are intelligent and that have very smart, but oftentimes when you're a part of the crowd, you oftentimes go with what's wrong, because you say, you know what, if I tell people what's right to do in this situation, I'm no longer going to be a part of the crowd. You got to understand that you're up against the crowd mentality. You know, I thought about this as we looked at crowds, because let's be honest, man, we like crowds, right? We like big crowds, right? We like big crowds. We cannot lie, right? Y'all like crowds. I like crowds too, right? We like crowds, right? And so as I was thinking about that, I said, I remember I used to fish. My grandfather used to take me fishing, right? And when you go fishing, you have to, anybody fishes, you have to put this worm on this fish hook. And so I was asking myself, what what is so amazing about crowds, right? Why is it so hard for our young people, our generation, to stand out and be leaders in a crowd? Why is that so hard? I'm about to tell you something that's going to blow your mind, right? I figured it out. I asked myself, why is it so hard for us to have leaders, to have a room full of leaders? Why is it so hard to have that, right? I figured it out, right? And you're going to be like, yo, man, I think we just solved the world's problem. When I tell you this, it's going to blow your mind. Why is it so hard for us as a generation to stand out and be leaders from the crowd mentality? Can I tell you why? Somebody ask me why. Why? Because being a part of the crowd is dope. It's dope, right? Let's be honest. When you see a bunch of people doing the same thing and going the same place, man, it seems dope, right? And being a leader seems kind of weak, right? You got all the crowd. They're doing this and they're going this and they're all going to the lit party and everything. But to stay home and do my homework before the party, that don't seem that cool, right? It really don't seem that right. So here it is. I'm a part. I see the crowd and they're having a really, really good time. And I got to study because I know I want to go to Notre Dame or I want to go to Spelman. And I might miss out on a few things that don't really feel good all the time. Right? It seems weak, right? It seems lame. But as I was thinking about fishing, you put this small, seemingly insignificant worm on this hook, right? Yep. And you throw it out in the water. You throw this small, seemingly insignificant worm out in the ocean. And what happens is a big tuna comes by and says, oh, I'm finna smash on this worm. Oh, I'm gonna eat this worm. Listen, this worm is not gonna have a chance because when he sees the worm, he says, this is a small, seemingly weak worm. I think I can take over this worm. But what the fish does not know is that the worm is connected to something that's greater. The worm is connected to something that's bigger than it, right? Yep. The worm is connected to something that's way more powerful than it is, right? And so many of us as leaders, we have to understand that my desire to be a leader is connected to something that's bigger than me. My desire to be a leader is connected to a sacrifice. It may be hard for me to study right now, but I'm going to study because I know that the more I study and sacrifice right now, that means that scholarship is on the way, right? Yeah. It may be hard for me to not go to the party right now, but I know, man, as long as I'm a part of Leadership Memphis, I'm going to do some really, really dope stuff, right? You see, it may seem weak to you, right? You may be like, why are you praying? Like, listen, my prayers may seem small to you, but they're connected to somebody that's bigger than I am. All right. Right? You got to understand that as leaders, it may seem weak to you. It may seem hard to stand out from the crowd, but when you understand that what you are and what you're doing is bigger than what you are, right? And so as I looked at it, I said, I want to help them today. I want to help them understand that this crowd mentality, that they can overcome it, right? There's been many people that failed at being in a crowd. Like they failed at being in the crowd. My pastor, I can talk about him, he failed at being in a crowd in a city where many people wasn't doing church the way he was doing. He failed at being in the crowd because he was a leader. Right? Martin Luther King, he failed at being in a part of a crowd because he had an idea. He had something that civil rights, if we would really begin to strive for, we would do something really, really amazing, right? And so I want to give you 3 things that kind of will help you as leaders begin to stand out. I want you to really listen. I tell my students, history makers are note takers, right? And so if you got somewhere to take notes or you got a good memory, remember these things. I want to give these to you. The first thing I want you to know as a leader, if you are going to stand out this year, I understand that this is the kickoff of Leadership Memphis. Well, if you're going to be an actual leader, you got to understand that the real you is always better than the fake somebody else. You got to understand that, right? You got to understand that you are an original. You are not a carbon copy. You are a beautifully and wonderfully made. Listen, we don't need no more followers. We need more leaders. You got to understand that the real you is better, right? Listen, if just one person, watch this, if just one person needs what you have, then guess what? You are needed. If just one person is following you, then guess what? You are a leader, right? But watch this, if nobody's following you, then you're just taking a real long, cool walk, right? We need some leaders. We need more leaders, right? The second thing I want to leave with you is is you're not powerful as a leader until you empower somebody else, right? Who's following you, right? Who are you encouraging? Who else are you, like, to all my young men, like, who else did you tell, hey, man, I need you to be a part of this program with me, right? Who else did you send this e-bike to say, hey, I need y'all to be a part of Leadership Memphis? Why? Because, listen, we're trying to do something different in our generation, man, right? We're looking for leaders, man. You are not powerful until you empower somebody else, right? Now, I want to be clear. Now, some people, watch this, some people are not going to want to follow. I had to learn that some people are not going to want to follow you. Some people are not going to want to do certain things. But I learned that some people, listen, some people don't want help. They just want attention, right? And so we got to be able, and you got to be able to know the difference between the both, right? Who wants your help and who just wants some attention, right? And you got to be able to determine that. The last thing I want to give you is you got to have a purpose over your plan, right? You got to have a purpose over your plan. Now listen, a plan is good. You got to have a plan. You should have a plan. We should all have a plan. But what I understand the difference between a plan and a purpose, you see, a plan is what you want to do, right? A plan is what you want to do. I wanted to play in the NFL and all that great stuff. And I moved to Memphis and all that good thing, but God had a different purpose for me, right? You see, a plan is what you want to do, while a purpose is what you were created to do, right? What are you all created to do? You all have some type of purpose that you're supposed to be doing. And as a leader, you got to identify that right away, right? You see, the reality is that many of us, many generations, our youth and our young adults, we're searching for in the crowd what we already have. And I'm here to tell you, stop searching in the crowd for what you already got. Quit searching in the crowd for your identity. Quit searching in the crowd for validation. Quit searching in the crowd for what you feel like they got. Listen, you already got it. You ain't got to find it in them. It's already in each. You're in this room for that very reason, because you said, I'm willing to step out from the crowd, right? And so you got to understand that that's what we're looking for. I love what Miss Sykes said. She said, you gotta have a dream. You got to have a dream. But I want to let you know, the dream is free, but the sacrifice is sold separately. You got to work at some things, right? You got to be an uncommon leader. You got to do some special stuff. And so I'm excited about what you guys are going to be doing. I'm excited about this. You know, I believe in you. I know you guys are going to do a great thing. I'll leave you with this. I had a young student, and she go to this high school. I'm not going to tell you the name of the high school, but he used to always pick at her. He used to always pick on her. I always pick on her every day she comes to school, because she would come to school with jean shorts and cowboy boots on. It's just different, right? That's what she came to school with. And every day she would come to school and they would laugh at her. They would just make fun of her. They would just go off, and I'm just like, she would come to me, she's like, yo, PJ, I don't understand why. She said, but I'm good with it, right? And she would go to school, and this particular day she had enough of it. She said that she saw some students over at a lunch table, they were laughing at her. She walked in with her cowboy boots on and her shorts. And she walked up to them and she said, I know y'all are laughing at me, right? I know you, and that's crazy. You call somebody out, you know, let everybody's face like, what, really? And she said, I know y'all are laughing at me. And she said, the reality is, y'all laugh at me because I'm different. And that's true, I am different. Y'all all laugh at me because I'm different, but the reality is I laugh at y'all because y'all all the same. And so I'm challenging each and every one of you, don't afraid to be different. We need more leaders and less followers. Thank y'all for letting me come. I believe in y'all.
Give him another hand. Was it awesome? We appreciate Ms. Sykes and Pastor Jay for being here with us today. And we are going to quickly move into the final portion of today's ceremony. I want to ask everyone to be prepared to just quickly walk across, because we want to give your certificate. So if you all would assist us, we're going to actually hand them a certificate. And then someone else can place their stickers on them. So I hand these down here. And I'm going to call names very quickly, so if you'll go ahead and stand first row. Beginning with Gabriel Brittman, you can all just come on and start walking around. Tiana Carrick, who is not here, so if you have Tiana's certificate, you can put that one in the back. Efren Castro. Toriana Davis. Adriana Hunter. Ahmad Kidd. Demaya Lewis, Precious Lyons, Shanti Maybon, Casey Morris, Lisbeth Nava, Samaria Polk, Isidro Salazar, Madison Singleton, Jalen Townsell, Tyler Wilson, Trevante Wimberly, and Whitney Jacob. Let's give them a hand. These are our 10th grade students who are part of Leadership Memphis. This is the first year for all of them. And now if our juniors will stand and begin making your way. Julio Bacasegua, Timmy Becton, Fernando Coronado, Alea Cole, Hannah Fields, Davina Lee, Aubrey Martin, DeJaren Matthews, LaQuantis Maxwell, Yaselin Moctezuma, Michaela Price, Xavier Richardson, Ricky Smith, Dante Sullivan, Janae Ward, and Christian Williams. Let's give all of them a hand. And as you make your way back to your seats, if I could have all of the inductees to stand with your programs. Turn to the page in your program that says Leadership Club Creed, which is directly under your names. We're going to recite this creed together. And as we're waiting for our last students to get back to their seats, I do want to recognize Miss Elizabeth Jinko. I apologize. We did not recognize her earlier. She is our program director for Leadership Memphis. And at this time, we're all going to recite the Leadership Club Creed. I will lead you in this creed. So we're reciting together. Everyone ready? Okay, begin. As a member of the Leadership Club at Douglass High School, I believe in the future which I am planning for myself and ensuring I do all that is necessary to succeed in getting there. I will uphold my responsibilities as a leader in my school, community, and for the betterment of Memphis. Give yourselves a hand. All right, thank you so much. That actually is the end of our program. We're going to have closing remarks, and I'm rushing, and I do apologize that we don't want to get caught in the bell. The bell is going to ring momentarily, but we are going to have closing remarks from our school leader, Principal John S. Bush. Please receive him. Immediately following Principal Bush, we have light refreshments for everyone in the lobby.
All right, we'll be real brief. Give yourselves a round of applause again. Give our guests an applause. We want to first thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I realize that we had to reschedule this because of the inclement weather yesterday. Thank you all for coming. Ms. Sykes, as always, it's a pleasure. You always bring Douglass back into the forefront as far as keeping the rich history of the school, the tradition. We hope that we're doing a good job of living up to you all's standards. To my wonderful, outstanding students, so proud of you all. You all have been given a task that I know that you all are up for. We will support you through that. These fine young people, fine executives, will be coming to meet with you all on a monthly basis to pour into you. Please, please use this opportunity to gain knowledge, ask them questions about what they do. You know, you never know where you may end up in your profession one day. So again, thank you to our fabulous speakers. They came out and gave you guys a lot of good wisdom. I'm sorry, I've been talking a lot today, so I'm tongue-tied. But again, we want to thank you all. Again, I'm moving quickly because the bell will ring. There are refreshments out there, so please stop and partake in that. Again, thank you all for coming. Look forward to working with you all this year. Thank you.